So are you in Louisiana?
Actually, currently I am not. I am in the Pacific Northwest up in Washington State.
Okay, are you on tour or
No, I'm out here. Actually, I moved out here.
you moved away from NOLA, you
But
sellout.
but listen, I'm actually living between both currently.
Oh,
So
fair. You got dual citizenship.
yeah, I have dual stateship.
Mate,
Although they won't give you a license in another state while you have a license in a different state. So if I decide I want a Washington license, I have to get the whole punch through my Louisiana license and then obtain a Washington one.
oh, we don't
So
want that.
I'm on the fence about it right now, man. I'm like, you can't just let me have both. You can't just let me have both on this.
Come on, Louisiana is so much cooler than Washington.
Yeah, I mean, but dude, okay, be fair. I lived in New Orleans for 51 years. Okay.
1 years. Good
Yeah.
grief.
So
Wait,
I
you
feel like I have like a hall pass to go wherever the fuck I want at this point.
what is it about NOLA that second-rate music journalists such as myself mythologize so much? Like, legitimately, like, I grant it. Is it just the musical output, or what do you think it is?
I don't know. I have no idea really. I kind of have an answer for it. Everybody's always asking me too, like, well, what is it New Orleans like with the music, and what is it with? I'm like, I really don't have an answer. I mean, the only thing I can say, like, with that is because of the rich, like, musical history of Louisiana, New Orleans mainly. I think it's a subconscious influence. Growing up around things, going to see stuff. Growing up around the French Quarter and just hearing all the different music. Stuff like that. And you look at bands like EYEHATEGOD, like Down, Crowbar, and they got more of the old rock and roll element, old heavy metal element, but then mixed with like blues and stuff like that. And I just think the chemistry aspect is just different, and that's how it comes to be. I don't
Yeah,
think there's a dead set like finger you can put on anything. It's just that the city is unique. The music in the city is unique, and that just adds to the element of it.
I feel like because I interviewed Kirk from Crowbar about 2 years ago, and he was saying that yeah, the scene is just everyone knows each other, and no one really gives a shit. Like he'll be like, you'll run into Phil Anselmo at the doctor's office. It's just a very it's
Yeah, look,
yeah.
there's another thing though too is that people have to understand New Orleans isn't really a huge city. Like people that live outside of it, they'll feel like New Orleans. It's not like New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago. It's not like a major city. And even in the element of touring bands, New Orleans gets skipped a lot. Like when I was growing up as a younger kid going to shows, I would drive to Houston, which was 5 hours away, to go see a lot of tours because they would skip New Orleans. So New Orleans was always this odd thing, but every now and then bands hit it. Sometimes they skip it. So it's not like it's this big city, and like you were just saying, Kirk was saying that, it's really close knit. It really is. Like you can go like I could go somewhere when I was in New Orleans and I'd see Kirk somewhere.
Mm,
And you'd just be like, Kirk, what you doing here? He's like, this is where I come to get whatever, to buy
yeah,
this, to do this. So it is like people you just see anybody anywhere pretty much because it's not like a huge city. I
yeah.
mean, comparative to like other things, but people outside of it and seeing the bands that come from it, they have this idea that it is this like New York City type of city, or Los Angeles type of city. And it's not. It's not anywhere close to that. I mean, it's in a touring sense too. It's like, let's say you have primary markets and then you have secondary markets and you have triary markets. It's more like triary and then down kind of like market New Orleans.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Let's talk
so
about
it's I don't know. And like I said, it's unexplainable. It's almost kind of like when you look at things like when you look at like the Florida death metal scene. you know, what was going on at that time and things like that. And then like the Swedish death metal scene, or, you know, something like that, and that kind of aspect where something was going on in this area and you can't necessarily pinpoint why. It just, the chemistry just worked out at that time. And I just think New Orleans has this odd, weird chemistry, and then it makes all these different kind of bands too, because none of the bands share like anything that's same, you know. You go, and like in Goat War 2 was always like this little like black sheep in it. Even though we had these like little weird New Orleans elements, it was a bunch of dudes that got together that were like, well, we like old like black metal, like Celtic Frost and Bathory. Let's make this like black metalish death metal band, and then all of a sudden the New Orleans shit seeps into that and mixes and makes, you know, whatever Goat War's doing at this point.
Plus, I mean, I feel like with your name, you know, you had two choices. It was black metal musician or, you know, aristocrat, basically.
Oh, it's almost like though you think, you know, what came first, the chicken or the egg? What came first, like the music or the gohor? The gohor, the music. Like, did you make the name and then you said, okay, this is the music we're gonna do?
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's like I can either be, you know, pretend to be a billionaire, or or I can be a black metaler.
yeah, the craziest thing about it is like it's definitely, you know, it's, we probably had in the past like people deterred away from the band because of the name, instead of just going, well, let's see what it sounds like. They're like, yeah, no, and, you know, exit. But and I'm sure like too now with like things like social media, it gets probably shadow banned or whatever, you know, and some kind of algorithm. It says it's like go to war, it must be involved with pornography. It goes down to here or whatever. It gets pushed to here, and you're like, you know, that's all part of the game. And what we do is we tour and we go out there, and when people come out and they go, you know, we heard of your band before, we just kind of like, we came to the show finally, and we really like it. And it's just like, well, yeah, it's just a fucking name. Don't make a big deal out of it.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I wasn't familiar with the band until I got offered this interview, and then I literally had the subject line of the email came up that said, "Interview opportunity, goat whore," and I'm like, I'm fucking in. I don't care who. Then I went and found,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay, but wait. So once you did it, so did you do research?
of course,
Like,
of
did you
course.
go, you went and listened to it and stuff like that? You see, that's
Yeah,
good, because some people like, I'm doing this interview, and I've never heard this band, and I'll do an interview with them, and I'm like, okay, so what are we gonna talk about? And they're like, well, I don't know, just talk about some things, and I'm like, I,
now,
what do you
I
want me to
have
talk
done at
about?
this point, I've nearest estimate, I've done about 1,000 interviews. So I could very comfortable. I'm one of those few people who, if you gave me the name and like two or like half a press release, I could probably knock out a half an hour interview. But I wouldn't want to. I of course, you know, started at the beginning, and in the interest of
Okay,
time, I
so let
kind
me ask you. Let me
yeah.
ask you. When is the first time we played in Australia?
I'll see. Fuck knows. I know you've been here before, because otherwise the press release would have said, "Oh, it's for the first time ever." Um,
Yeah,
no, so
yeah,
I checked out
yeah,
obviously
yeah,
the
yeah. Okay,
the
so we've been to Australia 3 times so far, and the
damn.
first time was with Behemoth and Job for a Cowboy,
Mm-hmm.
and then the second time we toured with Impiety and Ruins. You ever heard of Ruins? Ruins
I
is
have, yes,
Australian
yes, yes.
band.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then the last time we were there was in March 2015. We supported Psychroptic on their record release show, and that tour was really amazing because being that we were with an Australian band and a band that was bigger in Australia, they brought us to all these different places we had never been, you know, like Geelong and other kind of places, like little small, like little smaller areas, like
Mm-hmm.
around Australia and stuff like that, which was cool. Like, because usually you come in as a band from that's not from Australia, and you have like 4 or 5 shows,
Yeah.
and then you leave. This way, we were there for like 2.5 weeks. We were in Australia, and we'd stay like, so they don't do shows like on like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, but then they'll start doing shows Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And so we were there for 2.5 weeks. And then on the days we were off, we would just go do things like see sights or, go see the koala bears or,
Of course,
things
naturally.
like
Yeah.
that, do touristy shit.
Yeah,
And we
yeah.
went to an aquarium, I think the aquarium in Melbourne, I think. Well, anyway, we went to this aquarium. There's a fucking amazing crocodile in it. It's huge. And it's like a little bubble thing. You can go in and stick your head up in it and you can see the crocodile up close. And it's mad. I mean, we deal with alligators, but dude, that croc
Yeah.
was so fucking huge. It was ridiculous, bro. It was
Yeah,
like
crocodiles will
prehistoric.
eat alligators for breakfast. Yeah, yeah. Now, I love that you
Yeah.
mentioned Psychroptic because I am Tasmanian, which is where Psychroptic come from. Psychroptic were literally the first metal band I ever saw live when I was just turned 18, and I have scars under this arm from crowd surfing. I'm 6'8". I have
Holy
no
shit.
business crowd surfing, and I got dropped on a broken bottle at
Oh
a
shit.
Psychroptic,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was so drunk that I didn't notice until I woke up the next morning and my bed sheets looked like a crime scene. And I was like, where is all this blood coming from? So I literally have scars from
Yeah. Oh,
Psychroptic.
dude, I thank those guys for bringing us to Tasmania. I mean, there's not many bands you come across and you go, have you ever been to Tasmania? And you go, yeah, I have. And they're like, what? That's fucking insane. But
Yeah, man.
yes, we got to go play 2 shows in Tasmania.
Yeah, I
with,
grew up.
with
So I grew up in Launceston in the north, which is where I imagine one of the ones that you would have played. And,
yeah, yeah, yes,
yeah,
yeah.
man. Um, so, but this is this is interestingly, this is one of my questions. So if you were to, for example, someone has never heard Goat Whore's music before, what album would you say is the best entry point? And I'll make this a little harder. Don't say the most recent one, because bands always like to tout their most recent work. But
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
weren't
yeah.
allowed to say that, what do you think is Goat Whore's finest hour?
That's hard. I'm not going to say it's the finest record because each record to me is it's like a time capsule.
Hmm.
It's a point in time of the band and it shows like the evolution of the band. Now if I was to say, I would say start at the beginning and go with that. But if I just needed a record to represent us probably to the point of what we are now, I would say Constricting Rage of the Merciless.
Hmm.
It's got a really good sound. It's really solid. All the songs are really solid, really kick-ass tunes on it. So not that the other ones don't have it, but it's the first thing that comes to my head as like representing what we are. If somebody said, we need a representation of this real quick, can't pick the newest one.
Yeah.
So Constricting Rage of the Merciless would be the one.
Yeah. If I asked you to do the same thing with I Hate God, what do you think? Because I know they've got a lot of you know albums that are looked back on with a lot of fondness. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What would be a great album to represent I Hate God?
Holy shit. That'd be a hard one, man. It would be I don't know. I'm torn between In the Name of Suffering and Dope Sick
Mhm.
because I feel like those 2 records are like pinnacle points. All right, we'll go with In the Name of Suffering.
That's smart.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had a cool chat with the frontman from it's interesting you mentioned Behemoth because one of my favorite interviews was Nurgle is just the most disarmingly charming dude.
Yeah,
Um
yeah, yeah. He's really chill, man. He's really
yeah.
chill.
Um Another black metal frontman who was I found really, really entertaining was the frontman for Watain. His name
Eric.
escapes me. What's his name, sorry?
Eric.
Eric. Yep. We
Yeah.
were talking about shock value because in 2022, when I spoke to him, I don't know if you remember hearing that the singer of a band called Brass Against brought an audience member on stage and she pissed in his mouth. Do you remember hearing about this?
I heard something of that. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
on stage, yeah.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
he did like the wrestler Hitman Hart and spits it up in the air. Like,
Yeah.
it was quite something. But obviously the entire music world was just like losing their minds about it. And we had a really good discussion about shock value because obviously Watain are famous for, rotting meat and, Nazi,
Yeah, yeah.
pretty full on visceral stuff. What are your feelings about I guess shock value in entertainment? Is it something you've ever really pursued? What are your thoughts on it?
It's so I feel like there's bands that do it on purpose. And then there's bands that do it, it's part of the thing, but then the way the media and everybody steps in, they blow it out of proportion when it's something natural. Like, you got to think sometimes there's things going on that never videotaped that could be complete fucking shock value for something. But it's not, it's all in a moment of time. So you have these different like shock value kind of levels of things, like the whole like set up shock value, which sometimes it doesn't turn out right. Sometimes it doesn't do what people want it to do. And then it's the ones that you never know, like take Watain, for instance. Someone that goes to Watain shows a lot knows what Watain's about. Someone shows up, doesn't know anything. They're like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on here? And they're filming it and everything's, and then for some reason their video gets out crazy and then this whole thing explodes because of it. Sometimes it's on a whim, like you don't have any control over it, and it just happens. I think so there it is. There's two elements of it. There's the element of trying to create it and utilize it as a tool to promote, and then there's just the situation that just happened out of nowhere and it helped in some sort of way. And that's what I think that's the more traditional like shock value. I think that sometimes some of the stuff that has happened in the past that was shock value was purely because it got out and then people that weren't familiar with it freaked out and it blew it up. I mean, shit, we'd have to sit down and like pull every shock value thing and see like what happened. Like, so the guy drinking the piss, it's a live show. It's going on. Somebody videotaped it. Did they say, hey, I'm going to do this for shock value? Or the scene happened, someone caught it on camera, put it out there, and then everybody said, holy shit, what the fuck is going on?
Man.
So there's a lot of elements to it.
We are about to run bang out of
No,
time.
we're good. Keep going. You're my last interview for today, so we got some extra time. So.
Is this your last one?
Let's see. Yeah, it's my last one.
Oh, fuck yeah. Wicked. Awesome. Mad.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. I'm looking at the thing going, oh, no, stressing out. No, cool.
Yeah. No, we ain't staying on here for like an hour, okay? But
yeah. So, yeah, man, this is going to be cool because I will be, yeah. So go ahead.
No. So the shock value thing was just, like I said, it's either a predetermined thing as you're trying to do to make a selling point, or it's something that happens out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like I said, like a Watain show, like we toured a month with those guys. So that's like, it's when people see them, I go, that was going on every single night for like a month.
Yeah. Now you're upset? Yeah.
Yeah. Now you're upset. Now you're having a fit over this, That's the thing too. But we all realized I'm pretty.
Oh no. Wait, he's frozen.
Be a tool in promotion. Because we all know negative promotion is just as equal as good promotion.
Yeah.
So like a shock value thing like that, definitely. And then people will take it and run with it, But I think a lot of them are just, they weren't calculated to be a shock value thing. It was just something that happened and someone there caught it at the moment and it just came out. And because of social media now too, things pop out all over the place. And it just takes the right person that has huge files to catch it and then share it. And then it blows out of proportion.
Yeah.
So the element of it is just, it's kind of like lottery numbers, You never know if you're picking the right ones and then one day you do or you never pick them. It's the same kind of aspect as that.
What? I've got to ask, like, what kind of smell? I'm going on touring with Watain. Like, where do they get the rotten meat? Is this something that they take with them, or is this something that they source when they get?
Well, no. So they definitely not taking that shit across borders, that's for sure. But like, I'm sort of not flying in on like fucking United Airlines with it in the bay and then landing in Australia and going through customs, you know? So
Can you
they
imagine?
usually have people that are like really big fans or followers or people that they connect with, you know, with their ideas and ideals and stuff like that. And they bring stuff out to them. And then they have it for the show and they set it all up and they keep it in this crate and they keep the blood in the bottles and it's all legit. It's not like fake blood and stuff like that. And over the course of time, the odor gets more and more and more. So you can imagine they come to Australia and do 5 shows, but they're in the States and they do 30 shows. By show 28, that odor is pretty fucking strong. But I think like the tour we did with them was amazing. I mean, they were all great people. I mean, we were unique enough to have toured when we toured with them. Salim, the guitar player in this band, he's not with us anymore. He played with another band called the Devil's Blood, and he was touring as a guitar player in Watain. So the whole tour was really unique in that kind of aspect. So it was like cool. It was like one of those things. It's a thing like you go back to being in a band and you go back to some of the tours and you're like, wow, this tour was really cool. It's cool that this happened, you know, because you do these tours and you do so many tours and there's so many little like memories from things, but there's some things that really stand out. And you're like, wow, that's awesome that I was a part of that. I was fucking stoked that I was a part of that situation, you know.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah.
But yeah, but they have people that bring, you know, things out and everything like that. They get in touch with people ahead of time. Or like I said, there's fans or followers and stuff like that that bring stuff out to them and help them assist with the stuff. Now, I don't know. I can't answer that as far as how they're crossing Europe doing that. I don't really know. But like I said, I don't think they could be flying into Australia with it or flying into the U.S. with that at that fast. You know, that would be a unique fucking task. You want to talk about shock value? That they're crossing international borders with the stuff in suitcases going through customs. That would be the fucking story of the year, sir.
The old like fake diplomatic bag. I'm just sparing a sympathetic thought for the bounce, you know, the security, the front barricade guys who, you know, show up for their night's work at the venue and they're like, what the fuck? Oh, brutal.
But also, wouldn't the venue be responsible to say, look, tonight's show has Watain, and this is what goes on with Watain. So if you're working, maybe you need to bring like a rain jacket or some sort, or make sure you wear the clothes you dislike the most.
Yeah.
You know, or the security clothes that you will end up being thrown in a trash afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, there's things that like I feel it's like when GOATWHORE, you know, the band in the U.S. GOATWHORE with the big costumes, and they spew the fake blood, and it's like them showing up at a venue and a worker goes, "I never knew this was going to happen." I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, this band is known, and I'm sure the venue puts out like a memo that says, GOATWHORE will be playing tonight. Bring a rain jacket if you're working, you know?
Oh, bless them. I remember they got
But, you know, who knows? Who knows? I'm not running some of those places. So, I mean, my protocol would be, well, I got to get a memo out about this. This is what's going to be happening this evening. So I want to let everyone know.
100%. Rest in peace, Brocky. Mate, this has been rad. I need to get to work. Thank you very much for your time today, dude. It has been
No problem.
pleasure
No
meeting
problem
you.
at all.
And
Yeah.
yeah, man, I will be catching you guys for the first time ever in Brisbane. So I'll see you there.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Come up. Don't be afraid of us either. You can come up and talk to us. We're all chill as fuck.
I
We're
will be,
all
man. And
just
like I
hang
said,
out.
man, I'm 6'8" and I've got this haircut, so I will stand out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
know who
Oh,
I am.
I'll see you. I'll see you.
All right, bro.
Yeah.
Be good.
But thank you very much. I appreciate it, man, and looking forward to July.
No worries, man. See ya.
Okay. Take care.